Chovy did have a Zhonya's, so wasn't under too much threat of dying. But Def now has 4 items. So the Xayah, who has been very quietly doing basically nothing, is now able to do a lot of damage here. Rascal going to be able to get out with a hook shot before Carrier could get enough CC. Cloud Drake going to be available in a minute and a half. One thing that we didn't get to talk about was the fact that the second one for DRX was taken. So we might have maximum elemental dragons this game. Whoa!
All the Cloud Drakes. That is the Crown Drake Soul potentially coming in here.
Chovy has 6 items, PS. He's
How
completed
does
his
he
Spellbinder.
manage that?
I don't know.
Like, what?
He's at 345 CS, and he's a gambler. And he's apparently
That's why.
been
He's
able to get a
gambler.
lot.
Yeah. He's winning some spins, apparently. And
He's been hiding some aces. That's what I think he's been doing.
that's the way of the TF. Even though the Ashe has the same amount of kills and more CS, she is behind on items here.
I mean,
But
her
very
items are
close.
more expensive as well. So, you know, Chovy went to the discount store to pick up a few of
And
these.
she's very close, too. Ruler will get there probably before this next team fight.
Yep. Not going to have a Void Staff is Chovy. Of course, does a lot of mixed damage, I guess, with the auto attacks that he does do. Plus, he's got a rapid fire cannon, but not exactly maximum damage potential. But he might just sell something and fire Rabadons, you know, Void Staff.
And BDD is just like really starved
He's
somehow.
super anemic.
And he has Morellos, which,
Yeah.
I mean,
You gotta cut that
the
Rakan passive Gleaming Quill healing.
it's the W2
Yeah,
Lee Sin.
yeah, secondary safe.
when he's autoing.
Iron Will, I think is what
Yeah,
that's called.
yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
A little bit of lifesteal probably in the runes of the Xayah.
Yep. Oh, actually, there is Ravenous Hunter and Taste the Blood as secondary runes for Doran.
Great.
So, gotta make sure that he's not healing too much.
Yeah, I mean, if he didn't go Morellos, he would still have the penetration from the Oblivion Orb, of course, and then have 1,400 gold for something else, maybe a needlessly large rod. But instead, just going to have Grievous Wounds, so we'll see what he can do. I mean, his role, yes, the more damage, the better, but for Genji, he really needs to get a big ultimate off. As we're going to see the cooldown was 50 seconds. That's what Jonas Strong was trying to show us with the 3 Cloud Drakes. And
Chovy can be all over the map. And actually what they want to do is put their ultimates on cooldown just for as much as possible.
Yeah.
Right? Like, Def may as well Featherstorm the lane just to maximize the amount of value out of these Cloud Drakes as Carrier. Yeah, gets his bone plating taken away. Disaster. Otherwise, nothing too much going to happen. Back comes in. And that's another needlessly large rod for Doran. Why does he need that? He doesn't. Well, maybe maximizing the amount of AP for one item slot at this point in time, because we might be coming up.
Spellbinder.
Yeah, I mean, that's what he's going for, right? Extra movement speed plus a proto belt. That's he's going to be a speed. That's quick attack being employed.
Yeah, and we haven't had, I mean, we had that one team fight and the Baron happened and then DRX took everything to the, there was no pressure at all from the side of Genji afterwards.
Life, okay. Stands behind Clip.
He's all good.
Or beside Clip.
And, yeah, it's kind of just chilling. We're waiting for BDD to look for an opening.
Chovy, better press R again.
It's time.
Yeah, it's time.
Yeah.
He can.
Just R in
Maybe
behind
he
them
should.
and Sonya's.
Well, he has. He's listened.
He might do it. He's
As
going for
Carrier
Roller.
looking to try and get in. Grand Entrance doesn't really land, but that's a great quickness. Emperor's Divide used on just Carrier as Chovy's going to go golden and the Azir is taken down. Now Rascal is QSS'd in the backline as Pioshik safeguards out of the way of the arrow. But both mid laners have been traded for, and now this is a do-si-do that could get real dicey for DRX, as now the ultimatum is laid. Slicing Maelstrom, though! Gigantic into the backline. The Grand Entrance is extraordinary. Rascal hook-shotting himself to attempted safety, but it's not enough. And DRX, I think, they've just done it again.
They have, and it's not the first time we've seen a top team just fight straight into a super fed cannon And that is exactly what Genji did there at the end. They went for the 5v5. They got baited into it. DRX were able to shut them down. Doran had the perfect timing on that one, and they should be able to take this game.
Yeah, there's the kickback. Just for fun, onto Clid. They'll take the first Nexus turret. Def not really messing around until he's dealt with both of these Nexus turrets. Clid going to be destroyed. That's the ace delivered by Doran. Def goes golden in the end just to show off that he's still at his stopwatch. And DRX, that is 2 in a row for the Summer Split over Genji.
They did it. They took a big win up against Genji, who were a very tough opponent today. We talked about it, how either team could win, but Genji were just looking so strong up until the series, but DRX proving that they deserve their top spot, and they will retain it after this series. And there's not a lot of teams in the LCK that can beat DRX. Only KT can do it, apparently. Only KT have the ability.
With Smeb support. They need 2 top laners.
It's like the perfect concoction of alchemy to somehow make it happen.
Damn, that is some dark arts, I swear.
Yeah, after that one, I'm kind of like, maybe I should vote for Doran, but I voted for Keria. I mean, let's be real.
What the heck?
He won them that first team fight.
Oh, right, but
so important.
You've been getting the votes all wrong, so technically that means that it should go to Chovy, right?
Yeah, well, you found it out. Actually, I'm just a puppet for LS.
Yeah, perfect.
That's how it works.
It's reverse psychology, even though everybody votes independently.
Look at the hug on the Doran. CV Max is like, thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
And Clid got it. I mean, he hard carried game 2, played extraordinarily well. And unfortunately, I think BDD got tired by the end. Like, his Azir was not as impactful as we've seen so many times. I know, like, that sounds like we've got really high expectations, but we do. And we should, because BDD is so damn good. But these are the times where he has faltered, right? It's in the super high pressure moments. We saw it at the spring final, and we saw it here today. I mean, Chovy was still just having a great time, just happy feeding around, skill shots, just still trying to make those big plays. I mean, he messiahed into the backline of that last team fight and just threw his life away so that he could prepare for the most beautiful slicing maelstrom in the universe. Emperor's Divide used on just a Rakan to stop him from CCing their entire team. And the front-to-back team fight was fought front-to-back and dismantled by a DRX that should not have had a comp that should have been able to do it.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. What I took away, and I'm sorry for interrupting again. I'm just really excited.
You got to rant it out. You got to get it out.
I've got to get it out. I've got to get it out. I just want to see this matchup again, over and over again. So if both of these teams aren't in the playoffs,
probably, right?
I hope so.
We're either gonna have this, or we're gonna have, you know, DRX Dom 1 Genji, T1 Genji. There's gonna be a lot of these matchups eventually. As I really wanted to look at that last team fights replay actually and really break it down, but seems like we're not gonna highlight that just yet. We're gonna go through the entire game. And we talked about how DRX had to be proactive, and we were really worried because it kind of went tit for tat in the beginning, right? There wasn't a lot of DRX domination, so we were like, oh, they didn't get very far ahead. But then there was really just one team fight. There wasn't a lot of action early on in the game, so it was just little pickoffs here and there like this. And then, well, wasn't here, but we had a big team fight around here that pretty much got DRX the foothold that they needed to get too far ahead. Here it is, Jovi's happy feet, dodges literally everything. I mean, nothing hits him.
That was so silly. Until he decides that he wants to be hit by
slow it down, slow it down. Look at the charm as he's coming in.
Oh my
And then knocks him up. And Deft is right there. Just eats him up, eats him for breakfast. Perfectly feather storms right when Rascal jumps onto him, and they're easily able to play front to back with a big ultimate from both Pyosik and Doran. And they got too far ahead. This was a little bit of desperation from Ruler and Rascal, where Keria once again is going to shut him down. And that's why I voted for Keria.
I mean, Keria deserves it 100%. They're like, you'd be trolling if you voted for Chovy, but I think Elton would have done it.
Doran, I think, would be the other guy.
True.
Because he really had a couple of excellently timed team fights. So look at this. He targets BDD, not actually Ruler. He's like, no, we got to shut down BDD. And the team fighting of Azir is totally taken out. And even though here it looks like it's very broken up.
나 아직 궁 있어?
I mean, this was really dangerous for DRX, right? Like, yes, they don't have BD, but this is Genji. They still have so much CC, but without all of their ultimates, and with the timing out of Doran, like, Toby, God.
Toby's the only person talking. He's like, go.
아 이거 끝낼 수 있어 끝낼 수 있어.
We can end it, we can end it.
이거 세주환이 집 막는 거 생각해 이거.
라인 끊는 거.
There he is.
라인 끊는 거
Ranting
먹어.
himself. It's like, we can do this, just kill the turrets, don't worry about the enemy, we can just shoot through the turrets. It's like, it's over. Toby's like,
나궁 있어 나 궁 있어.
일단 끝내봐.
But you can see how much Toby speaks to them, right? Like, look at their faces. They're like, oh my God, we have to win right now.
끝내고 신나.
아니야
끝내고.
뒤에 죽네.
아,
죽여. 아 제발 죽여.
Carry's clapping, yeah.
아, 나이스다.
나이스.
Big nices coming in.
다행이다.
Thank God it's Pyoshik, as he does after every win.
Yep.
And,
but I mean, that one, well deserved. As oh my God, Doran's damage was nutty. That last ultimate in that last team was amazing.
It was broken up. They killed the mid laners, and then DRX came back together again, and we saw the difference between Kennen and Camille in team fights. Camille got in there, got the ult off, and then died immediately. And then Doran just ults 4 of them and sweeps them all into the garbage like it's nothing, right? And that's the difference. That's why we were talking about how Camille had to focus on split pushing. And I mean, that Kennen was just so unbelievably fed. Like, he had the most AP possible, I think.
I mean, that was actually like the highest. If he had have not built Proto Belt first item, which is more of a bridging item, but then he built into the most damage possible.
He had Spellbinder 2
Yeah.
by the end of it. And Doran is going to get it. I was worried about this, but I think that because of the timing of his ultimates, I'm not too sad about the fact that Keria didn't pick it up.
Certainly more flashy, but this is the Keria highlight.
Yeah. So notice that, look at Doran, okay? We talked a lot about Keria. He waits until they all group up and then he gets the perfect ultimate, right? So here it's like, okay, can't blame him for voting for Doran either. And then,
oh, definitely.
There's so much of this team. There's like 30 seconds of this team fight before that he could have used the ultimate, but he waits until right here when all 4 of them are built up, and it's the perfect timing. And that's what allows them to sweep the team fight so one-sidedly.
And we talk about like using Kennen for peel. In that exact moment, he used Slicing Maelstrom for peel onto Deft, as well as killing the entire backline of Genji. So, I mean, that's an all-in-one teamfight tool right there. Like, he made that. He is a teamfight comp in one champion.
Yeah. Genji, I think they struggled after they lost the Baron to really play their game of split push.
Yeah.
And DRX just took it to them and started that fight, that last fight, and Genji had to respond. And that's exactly, again, where DRX's comp was strong. As it was 5 out of 12, 4 voted for mid, and 3 voted for support, which that's interesting that Toby got 3 votes.
Could have been the swingers. Let's throw it to Ji-sun for the interview.
Thank you very much, guys. Let's hear from Toby. Doran taking down Genji in the second round robin. Congratulations on the win. It was the most hyped series of the week, and we had a very entertaining series. How did the players feel about the series today? As a player, it was a very difficult one. We had to really always figure out how to play the next performance. What about you, Doran? It was a very important series, and I wanted to win. I thought we almost lost it, but it's a big relief that we secured the win in the end. Game number 1, we saw 5 ban cards over to the mid lane, targeting you, Chobi. Well, because I have a wide champion pool, I wasn't really aware that 5 of the mid lane cards were banned out. That was a really low-key flex coming out from Toby. And we saw Galio versus Zoe matchup, and what's your thought on that matchup? in Zoe versus Galio matchup,
갈리오가 좀 더 할 게 많다고
I think
생각하는
Galio has
것
more
같아요.
things to
왜냐면
do.
조이 포킹을 앞에서 WQ 맞아주면
Well, if he takes the poke out of Zoe in the later phase of the game, at like 30, 40 minute mark of the game, well, the only damage that actually affects Galio is only the Zoe Q, so I think he can do a lot more contribution to his team. For the top laner, what do you prefer? Galio supporting or Zoe giving a lot of lane priority?
갈리오궁이 덮어지면 거의
Camille ult with the Galio ult, is it like a perfect combo?
갈리오로 하는 게 좋은 것
So I prefer Galio.
답변 잘 들었습니다.
저는 초비 선수한테 이제
I have question over to Chovy about game number 2. This time around, you took face rush on set. Sometimes you take quick footwork, and this time around, Genji had a lot of CCs. So what was the reason for your rune choice?
CC기가 빨리 풀리는데
Well, if you have quick footwork and tenacity, you have a high immune to CCs. But this time around, Genji, they had a lot of slow based on their comp. So I aimed for walking out faster with the face rush proc. Let's go back to game number 1. The game-ending 4-man taunt of Galio was the highlight.
솔직히 여기서 이즈리얼이 엉덩이 차였을 때
When Ezreal got hit in this fight, didn't the player think that the fight was already over?
시야 안 보이는 각을 통해서
I was looking for the angle where Genji players couldn't see me.
저 이때 진짜 절대로 못 이길 거라 생각했는데
Pawn also thought that that was never a winnable fight for DRX, but Chovy managed to pull it off. And I saw you being really quiet, pulling off that play.
일단 말을 할 틈이 없었고요. 지금
Well, I mean, there was no time to talk because I was looking for the perfect angle. I cannot really tell my teammates that I'm going in because, I mean, that was such a tight moment for me.
제 하이라이트 영상이었던 것 같아요.
Definitely, that was the highlight moment
초비 선수랑
for today. And
만날 때마다 as a mid laner, well, Chovy, BDD, Showmaker, those are all just like premier mid laners in LCK. Chovy, what's your strength amongst the other top mid laners in the LCK?
잘 모르겠는데
I am not sure.
이것만큼은 강점 있는 것보다 다른 성장
like
미드보다
there's not a specific thing that stands out. I have this desire that I want to excel in every department.
1위예요. 앞서고 있는 게 맞습니다 지금.
Well, I mean, you are the mid laner of the #1 team with such a great stats. So I want to also ask you about the feedback after game number 2.
조합인데 이제 카밀 투표로 사이드 운영을
Well,
굴려서 너무 게임이
They did
힘들어서
have a CC comp, but in addition to that, the side lane composition was also really hard to deal with.
네, 2세트 끝나고 나서 3세트 준비하면서.
What about you, Doran? How did you prepare for the game number 3? Camille, Twisted Fate, that was so difficult to deal with.
상대하는 입장에서 진짜 힘들거든요.
네, 그렇습니다. DRX는 현재 1위 팀인데요.
DRX, you are still on
약간 하위권입니다.
the #1 spot in the LCK, but your stats with your early game doesn't really stand out, especially about the early objectives. Is that your strategy?
욕심은 있는데
I mean, we want to get the early objectives, but
욕심이 없진 않은데
we just cannot.
저희도 잘 챙겨
We're trying.
상황 따라 그냥 맞춰서 그렇게 돼. 그러면 좀 굉장히 이색적이었던 장면이 3세트 같은 경우가
And we had a very
거의 대놓고
impressive
초반에 용을
moment in game number 3.
그다음에
You guys were
먹는 게
not
나왔는데
contesting for the
생각했을 때
dragon
그렇게 되는 걸 어느
from the
정도
beginning of the
계산을
game
했던 거
number
아니에요?
3, but and then you got all the dragons in the later phase of the game.
알겠습니다.
Was that the intention?
너무 좋네요.
맞습니다.
No, that was actually just like based on the given situation.
예, 1, 2경기 모두 카밀이 승리를 했잖아요.
Doran.
3경기에서 라스칼 선수가
Both game
또
number
카밀을
1 and
했고
2, Camille got a win.
그런 느낌의
And then
무대는 좀
Rascal
그런 픽이 있는데
went back to
이긴 픽이
Camille.
있어요.
And you know, sometimes in a very important series like Grand Finals, there is this pick that guarantees you a win. So were you confident facing up against his Camille?
그 카밀이 약간 트페랑 갈리오랑 다 시너지가
Camille has a really great synergy with Twisted Fate and Galio. But in game number 3, those parts were missing.
라인전은 편하게
So I had a very comfortable laning phase.
네, 킬을 만들어내기도 했었고 그런 시너지가 나온 것 같습니다.
네, 그렇습니다. 다음 경기 또 3강 팀입니다.
Your next match will be up against another top contender, Damon Gaming.
전략을 생각하고 계신지
Chobi, what's your plan going into Showmaker?
제 생각에 쇼메이커 선수 상대로 전략을 짜봤자 어차피
Well,
잘 안 통할 것 같고
Even if I bring a plan
실력들로
to
잘
face up against
풀어나갈 수
Showmaker,
있게
I
해야 할
believe
것
that
같습니다.
won't work. So I have to focus on the performance and mechanics.
너구리 선수 만나시게 될 텐데
Noran, what about you?
어떤 각오가 있을까요?
What's your plan in taking on
노구리
Nuguri?
선수 너무 무섭긴 한데
Nuguri is super scary,
잘하면 이기지 않을까
but
싶습니다.
maybe we'll win if I
그러면
play well.
마지막으로 팬분들께 한마디 듣고
Wrapping up, what's your
초비 선수 먼저 한마디
last
해주세요.
message over to the fans?
오늘 경기한 거 이제 아쉬웠던 점을 많이
Well,
보완해서
based on today's performance, we will work on our mistakes and we will do our best to show improved performance in the Damon series.
오늘 이겨서 너무 좋고
I'm happy that we won today,
경기 잘 준비해서
and we will do our best to
이기면 더
prepare
좋을 것
for the Damon
같습니다.
series, and it
네,
will
오늘
be
경기
even
정말
better
많은 팬분들이
to get
진짜
another
재밌게
win
보셨을
up
것
against
같은데요.
Damon Gaming.
감원전도 저희가 기대해 보도록
Wish you the
하겠습니다.
best of
인터뷰
luck in your
감사합니다.
coming series, and this will be the end of the
네,
interview with
축하드립니다.
Chobi Noran from
축하드립니다.
DRX.
네, 그러면 순위에는 또 어떤 변동이 있는지
Now it's time
지금
to check
만나보도록
out the
하겠습니다.
updated standings in the LCK.
Thank you very much, Ji-sun, for the interview translation. Adorable to hear how scared Doran is facing Nuguri as per usual. But DRX are going to retain their first place position, knock Gen G down yet another peg. And still, it's just that one pesky Smeb support game that is keeping DRX from a perfect match record for this season. And that was 5 matches ago, so they've obviously forgotten about it. This team just somehow wins and wins and wins and wins. Even though there were moments where, you know, especially game 2, Genji just looked like a better team.
Yeah.
There were times where Genji just looked better. But the results, both times, they weren't better.
That's what happens when two top teams that are really evenly matched end up butting heads. I think there are certain worlds where Genji could have won that game 3. And game 1 was kind of just like the Chovy effect, right? It's pretty insane what that one player is able to do. And maybe that's kind of what DRX have over Genji. It's that special player effect that pops out under so much pressure and is able to make the big play when it really counts. As you mentioned, I mean, BDD was pretty much invisible in game number 3, so a little bit worrying for Gen G fans for sure.
Certainly is, but we've got more matches coming up tomorrow. I'm going to go downstairs, have a quick nap, and then I guess we'll be back because it's been a really long night. We'll see you tomorrow.
I am ready to take it on. You told me to be myself and never feel alone. You're all that I want, you're all that I need. If I was ever in the dark, I'd see. You've always believed and have faith in me. You'll always be my hero. Happy for everything you've done. You'll always be my hero. Faith in you like the rising sun. I feel so strong, I feel the freedom to be who I can be. You'll always be my hero. Give me everything I need. Everything I need. You have faith in me. You're all that I want, you're all that I need. If I was ever in the dark, I'd see. You always believed and I faith in me. You'll always be